Okay, let's beginning. The goal of this talk is to show you how to build your own scale to have a site factory to be able to deploy tens of sites that are not really identical, but that they share the same capacities and the same hosting system. Then I'm involved in open source since 1996, and since 3 years I'm the president of a local association for open source on all free culture. I work on CPS at Nuxio in the beginning of my career on Zopi. Then I go to EngineWeb and work on Plone for years, and now I'm at Beerstech doing some Plone, but more Django and something on hackable device like OpenMoko and Arduino. Okay, let's talk about the buildout. The buildout was done by this corporation to help everybody to build something that you can repeat over the time. You have one configuration, you take the same configuration, copy it in another place on the same server or on another server, and you must have the same result. For Plone, it's used for years. At the start, there was no scale. There was only a few documentation to say how to create your own buildout file. Then on each project, you add to configure your project very hardly, because if you lose, if you made something wrong, you have to start again. And if you work with another people, with another configuration, you have to set up his own buildout, and so on. With Zopscale, we have something that was specific to the Plone community at the start, and you are able to just create the buildout configuration without pain, just saying what you want to do, and you have all configuration files that are ready to use. You just have to run the installer, and it's good. Some problem with upscale are if you just make a scale, it's like before with buildout. You just set up it for you, not for your team. And if you make development configuration, it's not ready for the production. You have to remove some things before to push it in the production server, on the production server. Then you lose the repeatability of buildout, because you have to maintain two different configurations. And if you are able to unify all practices for your team, you're not able to unify practice on your customer team for hosting. Then you have to build a configuration that can manage everything on the production place. You have to manage the virtual hosting, the cache, load balancing, and so on. And when you do some development, you want to have something really easy to deploy in Jenkins. You want to be able to test everything in your site before deploy it. Then you want it to be easy to deploy in Jenkins. First, when you will build a scale, you will build something driven by customer needs. If your customer wants to have something deployed on Amazon, you have to take Amazon specificities in your scale. Here I will show you 3 short customer stories I thought I had to manage before. First, back 10 years ago, EngineWeb built something called engineer hosting that can create Plone site for free hosting. It was really easy to use for all customers, but on the background, on the back office, we have a lot of problem because there was a lot of Python scripts to create a lot of things. It was specific to all servers. When we try to migrate all them, we wasn't able to do it. We were, and we weren't able to migrate to a newer version of Plone. Some years later, we have an education group that come to us to manage a site for all their school around France. Now there is around 70 sites, but on some sites you just have about 20 or 30 people registered. On some other, you have 2,000 people. And each time they choose to make a virtual machine for each Plone site, then each time you have to configure and compile everything. Then when you have an upgrade to do, you have many possibilities to have something broken in it. For the scale we create for them, it's a central buildout file like the unified installer do it. Then some subfolder with specific things for application, like I want to configure Pound, I want to configure Varnish, and so on. And one other subfolder for all add-ons we want to add for each site, because each site want to have some specificities. Some want to have forums, other doesn't, and so on. Then we have to choose on the installation. And we have also another subfolder for specific includes for one site. After 3 years, they want to have something that use their hosting capacities better. Then now they want to erase all and come back with a new project. And they want something with separation with add-on configuration and application to make share hosting. For low traffic sites, they want to share everything about cache, about engines, and load balancing. And for some sites with a lot of people on it, they want to make something more scalable, able to manage 3 or 4 servers with a lot of ZO clients on them. Another project that come a bit later with ENS de Lyon. The UNIS service is working on all that around knowledge sharing. Then they make a lot of websites on scientific projects, on laboratories. They are small sites, but each time you have specific needs. The infrastructure was imposed. We don't know, each time there is different servers on different hardware. You have always a Debian stable. Once the Debian is installed, you never switch to the newer one. And they want to be able to be more flexible at the start, to be able to use some application or not, and to use some add-ons or not. Then we create upscale.unis for them. After 2 years, we have 50 deployed sites. Each site costs half a day to be deployed in production, and with all specificities. And what's very important, each site which is target, it's public. And in their team, nobody is a Plone developer or specific Plone administrators. So, what do we need to do for this scale? We have some level in the stack. First, Nginx or Apache. Then, for the cache, Squid or Vanish. Then, Plone or HAProxy. Then, we need to have profiles to manage development and production deployment as a share hosting or ZO cluster. And also, very important, we have to manage non-ghost set for add-ons. If you want to know more about Zopscale or its successor, just see the presentation tomorrow at 11 past 45 on this room. Yeah. Then in Zopscale.unis, we use all techniques that are available in buildout to have something the more generic as we can. First, we use extents. If you are common with the unified installer, you have one extent in it that catch the Plone version. Then, which then build everything above with a non-good set of a specific version of Plone. Here, we use extend at its limits. Then we use a chain of extents, and we learn that the order is very important in it. Because you can, in Zopscale, you just manage the dictionaries. Then if you switch the order of 2 parts, one part can just overload the other. It just kills. Then we use a lot the plus equal meaning to add something new, new eggs, new parts, and so on. One thing also, you should never mix egal and plus egal, because egal is a termination. When you use it, it's just empty the whole dict. Also, we use this one. It's not a lot of there's not a lot of documentation about it. When you just put a file in an entry beside it, it will copy the whole file in your configuration file, in your current configuration file, before it be interpreted. It's really important to manage zero clients, because with only one file, you can manage as many zero clients as you want. And the last one, it's not documented at all. You can find it in buildout source. This one just give you the name of the current section in buildout. Again, when you make an include with the thing we see just before, the problem is that you're not able to know where you are, in which section you are. With this replacement, you can get the section name, then have something generic. So the upscale units, inside it, we have almost an empty build.cfg file. We just have a profile in it. We just define a profile. Here is for share hosting. It's a buildout I made yesterday on Tuesday for the Diazo training. It takes me 1 hour to have nine sites ready for the training. Inside, we have one subfolder to manage all profiles and all profile configuration in profile/etc and profile/models. And we have also some subfolder to manage everything you can see in production. We have a subfolder for patches, a subfolder for templates when you have configuration file for HA proxy or varnish and so on. Currently, we have 4 working profiles, and we are working on one more for Jenkins to be really generic. First, the development profile. It's like the standard profile with some more extents like Plone ID, like iPattern for debugging, and you can add also the profiler when you want to make some profiling. Standalone is just basic configuration like you can see in the unified installer. And pre-production and production are 2 zero configuration with 2 different bases to be able to test a project before to launch it. When you want to deploy a project, you just copy your scale, and in the buildout, you just have to switch the profile used, and it will be ready to go in production or to go in development. In profile /etc. First, we have a file called defines. We define everything in it that can be useful for other parts. For example, you have password for supervisor. You have the ID of the Plone site that will be used with cache, with virtual hosting, but also with the Plone site receipt. And you have all ports and all users. On the base.cfg file, you have the main buildout configuration with all basic configuration you will be able to share between all profiles, and all extension for development here. Always the latest Plone 4 version, and we extend on all other projects, on all other files in the same folder. Then we can also directly get some modules in the base. For example, here in this case, I take Diazo and Deco for the training. The file length is the same that you can see in the unified installer. The Plone site receipt is a receipt that install a site and that be able to refresh a site each time you run buildout. If you want to refresh a profile without having to connect in your ZMI or in your site, you can use the Plone site receipt. And the pill part, like in the unified installer. Then the project. In the project part, you just add all eggs that are specific to a project and that you don't want to add in an external module. Mainly, you add here LXML or some very specific things. And the versions file. Mainly, you define what version you should use for all your projects. That is very important to well define external application like Plone, Varnish, Asher Proxy, because when they fail to compile, someone who don't know how to compile things will be totally lost. They don't, they can't fail on the installation. Then the important subfolder is all modules we can use. In that case, in the ENS, everything is working with CAS and single sign-on, and we need also the LDAP configuration to be able to have our users. Then for one single site, we need some get-paid configuration, and then also Diazo, Deco, Plone idea, and metnav is a specific module from the ENS. In a module, you should use the less things as possible. For example, in the LDAP configuration, you just add X units, Python LDAP, product Plone LDAP and Plone app LDAP. And you set the version. If you need, after, to refresh, to have a new version of Plone LDAP, you are able to version this file separately for Plone 4.0, Plone 4.1, and so on. For Diazo, it's simpler. You have only one include in the eggs, but line is strength. You have to here I use goodpie.appstot.com from Martina Spelli that give me the whole set or version that I can use with Plone app theming. This specific version of Plone app theming. The problem with goodpie.appspot.com, it's you have to mail to Martina Spelli to register new version. Often, when a package is under heavy development, like Diazo, the latest release are not set in this site. And the last one, Plone ID. This one was very hard to do because Plone ID have a specific buildout installation and never provide any package. Then you have to get everything from sources and to install it from sources. Okay, let me show you a short demonstration. Then the first one, we use the easy mode. Customer is PloneConf. Domain name .org. We use site as ID for our Plone site. We use the latest Plone always, and we are able to choose which version we want to start. I want to have a standalone project, and I want. Also, in our case, to be sure to have some free ports, we just reserve all of them for 0 and for standalone at the start. Then we generated almost 20 ports. Okay, here's a list of ports used for each part. Now I have my project ready with all things in it, and I can compile it very quickly. It takes just the time of compilation to set up my project, and if I want to push it now in production, I can. I register the project I can create the Plone site right now. I have the good domain name. Everything is fine. I just have to push it with just 15 minutes. Everything is ready. Now, the advanced mode. Okay. Until now, it's the same configuration. And now I can choose if I want to use file storage or real storage. For example, and I have to choose. Okay, PostgreSQL, data main Plone, password, and everything will be configured directly in all your instances for using real storage. 2 instances by default, share blob, memcache. Okay. Oh. I can choose balancer, cache, and the front web things. False. Okay. The expert mode has a lot of features ready. So then, for all that, we just use the upscale feature with all templating in it. But now the next step is to go on a template that is brand new. And we have to have some better database for non-goose set. That is a point very important for all small projects like GetPaid, like teaming that is not in the core now, Deco and so on. For Plone Gov too, there is we need some non-goose state to be able to configure it very quickly. We need to make some structural refactoring. You see there was a lot of subfolder on some things that wasn't very clear, and we want to put them on the root and to be able to separate Plone modules with application modules. Make a separation here. And the upscale units, even if it's ready for production, is specific to units installation. We will not change a lot of things in it because it's for this customer. But take it as an example, because all things in it are working. That's all. Oh yes, this presentation uses the Impress.js stuff. You have thanks to Impress exporter exists if you want. Any question? No? Okay, it's fine. It's break time, I think.
Yeah, it's about time for...
We have